Okay, in the previous class, we discussed what are the barriers of listening. Now, let us discuss overcoming listening barriers and how to increase listening efficiency. These are the two topics we are going to discuss in today's class. All right. So, listening task. Listening is arduous task and extremely important at workplace and other places also. That's why we have to focus on listening because of its significant role in our communication, and it is essential that we have a clear idea about how we can improve our listening ability. Okay, if we have clear idea how to improve our listening ability, then only we can improve. Okay, without having any plan and any clarity about listening and developing listening skill, we can't listen properly and we can't develop ourselves this listening skill. That's why. Effective listening leads to excellence in work. Okay, in the workplace, effective listening is required or it is important for us. Yeah, then in that process, now let us discuss how to develop listening skill. Okay, the first and foremost, we should be a willing listener. We should be a willing listener. Okay, our readiness is important. Okay, when we learn something, okay, even learning, and even in the process of teaching and learning, the the first and most important point is that readiness to learn. In the same manner, in the same way, we should have a proper. We should be ready to learn something. Okay, or we should be ready to listen something. That's why we should be a willing listener. A willing listener. First, we should be willing to listen something. Then only we can acquire something. Okay, we can't make the people without having any willing. Without having any willing, we can't make the people. That means we can't make the people listening. Okay, that's why we should be a willing listener by controlling all our barriers. Of course, surely there may be some already we discussed some barriers. Okay, psychological barriers and semantic or linguistic barriers, physiological barriers. Okay, environmental distractions. These are all barriers we have discussed in the previous class. Okay, now by controlling all the barriers, or at least by controlling the possible barriers. Okay, in case of environmental distractions, sometimes it may be not in our hands. We have to work. We have to make others also, or we have to request the people not to make any noise. We have to control even the environment. Okay, so or else we have to create an artificial environment. Okay, in that means soundproof environment, noisy-proof environment, not soundproof, noisy-proof environment we have to create. So, be a willing listener by controlling all the barriers and build a proactive interest. You have to build proactive interest. Okay, you should come forward to listen. Okay, teachers and other speakers should not wait for you. You should come and you should wait for the speaker. Okay, in such a way, you should be a proactive listener to develop your listening skill. Okay, so build a proactive interest to think or act. Okay, so such interest should be created, right? So another point, ensure that all the environmental distractions or noises do not occur. Okay, so we should be conscious of the environmental distractions. What may be the disturbances from outside, and we should be very careful, and we should observe if there are any possible distractions. Okay, maybe from the neighbors or from the noises of the vehicles or from any other sources, whatever it may be. But we should ensure that all environmental distractions or noises do not occur while we are listening. Okay, and the third one. Okay, a long lecture or seminar or conference might demand that you are not hungry or tired to listen to the task. Okay, if the speech is long, we discuss two obstacles. One is tiredness, another one lack of patience. Okay, or we can lack of patience is due to hunger we discussed. So hunger may be obstacle and tiredness may be obstacle we discussed in the previous class. So when we have uh, when we have a long lecture or when we have already pre-intimated a long lecture or seminar or conference, we should be ready for that to listen 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours by making necessary, by planning necessary actions. Okay, if you think that you may be hunger. Okay, middle of the lecture, you should have alternative. There may be biscuits or any other snacks to eat so that your hunger may be stopped. Okay, likewise, you should have some plan to overcome this hunger or tiredness if this long lecture, if it is the long lecture or seminar or conference. Okay, that's why we should plan to overcome this hungry or the barrier of the hungry or tiredness to listen to the talks. Okay, that's why. That's right. So we have to ensure that we have taken proper rest and proper sufficient food for the task on the hand. That's why, okay, we should take proper rest so that we can avoid the tiredness, and we should take sufficient food, and we should carry additional foods, additional or that means snacks or other supplementary food to keep or to maintain a good position in that, or that means a healthy position in that particular speech. Okay, so yeah, this is the third one. Okay, in the first point we discussed that all we should be willing. Okay, lack of interest or lack of attention may be maybe barriers. That's why we should be willing. We should be a willing listener. Okay, second one we discussed that all the environmental distractions, all the so yeah, fourth point is that you should discipline yourself as a listener by controlling all the psychological barriers. Okay, we discussed that there are some psychological barriers. Okay, whatever may be the psychological barriers, first, when you start to listen something, you should stop every other obstacles. You should be able to control every other obstacles or barriers so that you can be an effective, you can be an effective listener. Okay, that's why you should control, you should discipline yourself as a listener by controlling all your psychological barriers. So, what may be the psychological barriers? That may be daydreaming or a dislike for the speaker. Okay, these are all the daydreaming, and these are all the psychological barriers. Even maybe ego. These are all the psychological barriers. First, we should be conscious, we should be very conscious to control our psychological barriers. Okay, by controlling our psychological barriers, we have to prepare for listening. Then you can be a good or effective listener. Effective listener, right? So it is important to control all disruptive psychological barriers to enable yourself to be a proactive listening. You are expected to be a proactive listener by controlling all your psychological barriers. Okay, yeah, fifth one, carrying a notebook or a writing pad to take down brief notes or key points is a good habit to force effective listening on oneself. Right now, okay, when you listen something, better maintain a notebook or a writing pad so that you can take down some points. Okay, when you take down some points from the speech, okay, if you are intended to take some notes, to take down some notes from the speech, then you surely you may be an attentive speaker, sorry, an attentive listener. Okay, in order to take notes, you may be attentive to take notes. Okay, that will help you. So carrying a notebook or a writing pad to take down notes is also helpful to overcome the barrier. Okay, next point, practicing good body language. Practicing good body language. Okay, if you practice good body language, that is your sitting style and your maintaining eye contact with the speaker and other non-verbal, other body languages, other areas of the body language. Okay, may be helpful for us to maintain a good position so that we can listen for the long time. Okay, if your sitting position or if you do not focus on, if you do not maintain eye contact with the speaker, then you may feel some tiredness. You may feel some tiredness, right? That's why, that's why, these students, we have to overcome these barriers by planning all these actions or all these alternatives before listening. Okay. Still, if there is any unexpected barrier in that particular situation, you should be ready to have a plan. Okay, you should plan something to overcome that barrier. That's what we have to know. We have in our mind, right? Okay, that should be that should be alternative in our minds. Okay, so these are how to overcome listening barriers, right? Now, another point, another topic, that is increasing listening efficiency. Increasing listening efficiency. Okay, of course. Yeah, these students, researchers, they plan and they study this communication skills and they propose many ideas in communication skills. You know, they propagated many ideas, many formulas, and many rules that they propagated. Okay, that's why. That's why we should be very careful to know what may be the strategies to develop effective listening, or how we may be how we may become effective listener. Okay, to know that we have to maintain something. We have to know something. Okay, see, Tony, Alexandra, and Phil Hanstetter, these two are the researchers in communication. Okay, they proposed a formula. They proposed a formula to develop listening skill. To develop listening skill. That is, they call it. They call this formula as a CARES. CARESS. Better, note down. CARESS. Okay, C stands for concentration. A stands for acknowledge. R stands for research. E stands for exercise control. And S stands for sense the non-verbal message. And another S stands for structure. Right? So, dear students, okay, this is the formula. This is the formula. So, first one, concentration. Next one, acknowledge. R,
Okay.
research. E, exercise control. Then S, sense the non-verbal message. Okay. Last one,
Okay.
structure.
Structure. Okay.
Yeah, structure means making structure something or putting something in an order. That is structure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Students, now this is the formula that was given by these two research scholars in communication skills. Okay. So the first one is, yeah, that formula is KERS. Okay. Yeah. First one is concentration. Students, excuse me, 1 minute. Yeah. So Keras uh, is the formula to develop listening efficiency, right? So in this first one, concentrate. Okay, as a listener, you are expected to concentrate on the speaker and on the speech. We have to concentrate. That means we have to pay attention. Okay, that's why focus attention on what the speaker is saying. Okay, until unless you focus on the speech and the speaker, you can't gain anything and you can't grasp anything and you can't go out with a particular gist of that speech. That's why it is important to focus on speech. Okay, your focus is required. Okay, that's why you are expected to concentrate on speech and on the speaker's words. Okay, another one, acknowledge. Okay, so when the speaker speaks something, meanwhile he may ask a question. Okay, then as a listener, you have to respond for that. Okay, you have to acknowledge your attentiveness. You have to acknowledge your appreciation. Okay, by demonstrating your appreciation, by expressing your attentiveness. Okay, by expressing your attentiveness, you can acknowledge that you're active listener. Okay, when speaker speaks something, if you respond, okay, when speaker speaks something, if you respond, surely the speaker may think that you are listening actively. Okay, your response will tell the speaker that you are active or not. Okay, that's why acknowledge that you're responding. Acknowledge that you're by responding. Acknowledge that you are a good speaker, as a good listener. Okay, you are attentive to the listener's speech. Okay. Yeah, third one, R, that is research. So, these students, research, what is the research? Generally, research is reviewing, researching. Okay, so when you listen something, or when you listen, or when you recorded the speech of the speaker, then practice self-talk to understand what the speaker is saying. Okay, practice self-talk to understand what the speaker is saying. Okay, generally. Yeah, strengths. Remaining time only 9 minutes. Yeah, let me go first. Yeah, research. Practice self-talk to understand what the speaker is saying. Okay, when the speaker says something, practice yourself. Okay, repeat the words of the speaker in your mind so that you can understand again what the speaker is saying. Okay, if you practice that, if you try to practice that, then you can be a good listener, right? So next one, exercise control. Exercise control, right? So what we have to practice, exercise in the sense, we have to practice. What we have to practice, we should practice to control all our emotions. Okay, we should practice to control all our psychological barriers or all our physical barriers. Okay, in this way, we have to exercise emotional control by restraining impatience. Okay, so we should control ourselves. We should practice or we should exercise controlling ourselves. That is simply we can say we should discipline ourselves. Right now, we should discipline ourselves. And next one, sense the non-verbal message. Okay, when the speaker speaking something before our eyes, okay, before our eyes, not only by understanding the words of the speaker, we should try to understand the body language of the speaker. Okay, when we try to understand the body language of the speaker, then the message may be more comprehensive. You know, half of the message, okay, maybe conveyed by the help of this nonverbal flows. That's why nonverbal message, understanding or sensing, that means grasping or understanding the nonverbal message, that is also an important role in this formula. Okay, sense the nonverbal message. Then observe the body language of the speaker. Observe the body language of the speaker, then you can understand some more information or some more accurate information we can say, okay, by understanding body language. Okay, so if anyone say we have victory, they may say like this, they may say like this. Okay, so when we have such a non-verbal clues, or we can say non-verbal message, if we could be able to sense that non-verbal clue, then we can understand the information clearly. Okay, then it develops our listening skill, right? And another one is structure. Okay, after listening the message or while listening the message, we should try to frame the structure of the message, the structure of the message. Okay, how we should understand the message while listening. Okay, while listening the message of the speaker, we should understand what are the main points of the speaker, or what is the main theme of the speaker, how he is going to present those main points under that same theme, and how he structure to present those points in a way, in an order, right now. So putting the message in an order, okay, while listening something, even we should be ready to put the message. Okay, in our mind, we should put all the message in an order so that we can understand the information clearly, right? That's why we should be conscious, even to know what may be the structure of the message. Okay, so in this way, dear students, okay, we have to develop our listening skill by making all these necessary actions. Okay, we can plan all these things right now. So with these points, okay, we discussed how to overcome listening skill and how to develop listening skill. To develop listening skill, we discussed the formula CARES. Okay, C stands for concentrate, A stands for acknowledge. Okay, R stands for research, E stands for exercise control, and S stands for sense the non-verbal message. And last word S. Yeah, students. Hello.
సార్ ఇప్పటి వరకు మ్యూట్ అయింది సార్ దట్టు ఒకటి వీడియో పాజ్ అయింది సార్ ఇప్పుడు దాకా
Okay, sorry.
సార్ మేము ఎక్సర్సైజ్ వరకు ఓకే ఈ ఎక్సర్సైజ్ వరకు కంటిన్యూ అయ్యాం బట్ తర్వాత నుంచి మిస్ అయింది.
Okay, sorry. Wait. Exercise. Next one, sense the non-verbal message. Sense the non-verbal message, right? When we listen something, we should try to understand even the body language of the speaker. Okay, by understanding the body language of the speaker, by observing the body language of the speaker, we can understand more information, or we can understand the information accurately. Okay, so the body language, observing the body language is also another important role. That's why sense the non-verbal message. Okay, next one, structuring. Okay, while listening something, we can keep all the message. Okay, we can keep all the message in an order. Okay, actually, while the speaker speaks something, he may have some order in his mind. We should understand what is his order, how he is going to present his topic in a particular order. Okay, while listening something, if we could understand the message in a particular order, okay, then it may be more comprehensive. That's why making or understanding something in a particular in a particular way, that is keeping or putting all the information in an order, that will help us to develop a listening skill effectively, right? Structuring means here putting the information or putting the message in an order while listening the speech. Okay, we have to put that order in our minds, what the speaker is going to speak, or what the speaker is speaking, what are his main points, what are his sub points, how he is presenting the information in a particular order. By understanding that, we can put the information in an order so that we can understand effectively. Okay, this is a structure, right? So by understanding these six rules, we can, by following these six rules, we can develop effective listening. Okay, so these are the two topics we have discussed in this class. Okay, how overcoming listening barriers and developing listening skill, having these
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, could you please explain us what is research in CARES?
What?
Research, sir, R for research.
Yeah, research means basically, actually research as a technical word, that is actually conducting a research. Here in this part, research means searching